Perfect. Welcome back to Southern Extreme TV. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Today we are talking about a really cool firearm, a Tristar 20 gauge that I have kind of revamped for turkey season. So I'm super excited to show you guys what I got. So we're talking about the Tristar Viper 20 gauge. This is a gun that I've actually had for a very long time, and you can see that it's now sporting the throwback mossy oak extra green bottomland. Just a super cool looking little old gun. Whenever I bought this gun, I actually bought this gun used from a pawn shop, and it used to be solid black, and the reason that I bought it was to have as a backup gun for actually dove hunting. So the barrel's just a little bit longer than what I typically like on my 12 gauge shotgun for turkey hunting, because I really like to be able to maneuver around in them woods. And if I've got a limb out in front of me, I like to be able to tuck that shotgun in close and get it in and out and around trees. But this gun was doing nothing but just sitting in my gun safe and really just wasting time because I wasn't really using it all that much. However, I stumbled across a video not too long ago of a guy that was doing some hydro dipping and was talking about bringing out new life into an older shotgun. And I said, man, you know what? I've got an older Tristar 20 gauge that would look phenomenal in that mossy oak breakup, or not breakup, but mossy oak bottomland pattern. So I reached out to a local company here where I'm from who does the hydro dipping stuff. They were able to get this pattern. They dipped this gun relatively cheap. I think I got this entire gun disassembled and dipped for around $120 to $140. And now I have just a awesome looking turkey killing machine. Let's talk about what I've got on top of this. I've got a Vortex Viper red dot. Now, if you've been keeping up with the channel, you guys have seen that on my Stoger 12 gauge, I am running an EOTech. Now that EOTech is going to be substantially more expensive than what this Viper cost. And the reason that I didn't go with something larger like an EOTech or something more expensive is I wanted to try to do this gun on the budget end of things. So I almost wanted to think of, if I was somebody trying to get into turkey hunting and I had an old shotgun laying around that I wanted to get dipped in camouflage and really just make it and trick it out to make it look like a turkey gun, what method would I use to try to be budget friendly? So that's the reason why I went with this Vortex Viper red dot. It's obviously it's got some disadvantages versus the EOTech. The EOTech I'm running runs on AA batteries, which is super nice. This Viper runs on a watch style battery, which is a little more difficult to replace. But the advantage of this Viper is it is so compact and so lightweight that EOTech adds a lot of extra weight to it. And this little old Viper, I mean, you can tell just how big it is in comparison to my hand. It's just a little bitty old tiny guy. And then I've got a Picatinny rail here that attaches to a dovetail rail, which a lot of shotguns, especially a lot of your cheaper shotguns, that's what they have. They have that old school dovetail on it. They're not tapped. A lot of them are not tapped to receive a Picatinny rail. And I think I picked this mount up on Amazon. It's not that expensive. I think maybe 30, 40 bucks at the absolute most. It's made by JTG or UTG, I believe. But in all, just a awesome little bitty lightweight cool shooting gun. Now let's talk about the choke tube that I have on the end of this thing. This is a Carlsons choke tube. It's a .568 constriction. This is the Longbeard XR turkey choke tube specifically. And the reason why I went with this choke tube is because I want to shoot Longbeard XRs out of this 20 gauge. And I know some of you guys are getting ready to ask the question, well, why in the heck are you not shooting the TSSs? And there's pros and cons to the TSS in my personal opinion. Obviously, the downside of the TSS in comparison to something like this Winchester Longbeard XR is pure cost. 5 rounds of 20 gauge TSS is around $50, I think it is, maybe $40 at best. But with the Longbeard XRs, I can get 10 rounds for $29. Right there, still the box, $29.99. So $30 for 10 shots, which is really, really cool. I'm getting 1,000 foot per second velocity. I think that's what that means, 1,000 FPS. This is number 5 shot, and it's going to be 3-inch. And I'm telling you, the difference between the TSS and a typical turkey load is a lot of things. And for starters, when you start talking about the grouping and the patterning of a shotgun using TSS versus a round like the Longbeard XR, you got to think the TSS is a denser metal. So they're able to compress that shot down into a lot smaller diameter shot, and it weighs the exact same. So what that means is that they are able to stuff a lot more shot in that shotgun shell. So let's say you have 2 guns side by side, the exact same gun, and you're shooting one with TSS, one with Longbeard XR. And let's say that they have the exact same pattern. Every single pellet of both shots are within, let's say, a 12-inch circle at 30 yards, okay? The difference between the two, they're still grouping the same, so I still want you to think about that. The shot that is coming out of that shot shell is still going in the same diameter circle, but the TSS is going to get more shots downrange because the pellets are smaller. Thus, they can get more shot in that shot shell. So, in theory, kind of think of it in my mind of how many 30 caliber bullets can you fit into a certain space versus how many 22 bullets can you fit into a certain space. Now, obviously, that TSS is going to hit just a little bit harder just because it weighs more, but to me, for the money, it's hard to beat the Longbeard XRs, and that's what I wanted to run out of this gun. I didn't want to run $50 shells because, again, I wanted to try to keep this as budget friendly as possible. This gun right here I picked up at a local pawn shop for right around $300, I believe it was. Might have been less than that, maybe closer to 200, 250 bucks. Dipped it in the camouflage, so I've got about, let's call it 120 there. So let's call that $400 all in with the camouflage pattern. I've got the Viper red dot, which is roughly $150 to $175 right now. So I'm up there closer to that, right under that $600 price mark. Picatinny rail, let's call it $30. Choke tube by Carlsons, we'll call that $50. We're out the door for under $700, and I've got basically a custom style firearm because Tristar does not make this shotgun in this camo pattern or with all these extras on there. And that's the beauty about taking those older shotguns that you got just laying around and turning them into something like this. So I know I've talked a lot about this shotgun, but the question is, how does it shoot? Is it worth your time and your money to have a little old light featherweight 20 gauge laying around, either as a backup gun or heck, even maybe as your main gun? So with that being said, let's take some of the Longbeard XRs right here, just show you guys that that's what I'm actually running. Let's take some of the Longbeard XRs, let's load it up into the shotgun, let's shoot a turkey target downrange. I've got 4 targets right here. I've got one already down there. We're just going to do one shot on each target and let you guys take a look at exactly what this Longbeard XR will do. Right now we're at about 35 yards, which is kind of that real happy place for that 20 gauge. I can go a little bit farther with this shot. I can shoot a turkey around that 45 yard mark, but that 35 yard mark is really where I want those turkeys to be at. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get this bad boy loaded up and let's put a shell down range and let's see what this thing will do. Wow, so daggum smooth, guys. The barrel is a little bit longer for this 20 gauge. They do make some 20 gauges that are a little bit shorter, a little more compact, like a youth model, but what a cool little situation right there. Let me go put these other targets up. We're gonna shoot 3 more times and then I'm gonna lay the targets out and let you guys take a look at what we got. On safe, let's go shot number 2. First grouping was just a little bit to the left. So I'm gonna hold back dead on that turkey's head and really try to make sure I squeeze through this one. Perfect. Gun is clear. Let's go down there and take a look at it. All right, let's go shot number 4, guys. Alrighty, so 4 shots, Longbeard XR, Tristar Viper 20 gauge, dipped in mossy oak, extra green bottomland. You gotta daggum love it, man. We are on safe, we're clear, nothing's in here for you control freaks. We're good to go. So now let's talk about the groupings. We shot 4 times. The first shot that I made, I hit to the left. So I think my scope was off, or my red dot was off. So I made an adjustment and actually hit too far to the right, and made another adjustment, brought it back just kind of in between my markings, and the next 2 shots I was dead on. So I wasn't off by much, but that right there is why you need to shoot your turkey guns every single year. We sighted this thing in last year and hunted with it a couple times. We didn't kill a turkey with it, but what a cool little shotgun right here. I'm gonna lay this thing on the ground right here, and I want to show you guys my first shot, because I know that's what y'all are interested in. So if I can step up here, hopefully you guys can see my first shot. The bulk of my groupings are right in this area here, which is kind of hard to see sometimes with this color painting that's on here, but if you flip it around, you can really see the bulk of your shot is in this area right here, okay? Which tells me, you know, I'm aiming kind of right where this turkey's feathers and skin would start. So that way the majority of your shot hits right in this neck region. The top part of your pattern will hit him in the head, and then some of those lower pellets will hit him kind of still down here in this throat section. That's where you want the bulk of that shot to be. But it looks like I'm pretty good. I'm a little low and a little to the left. So I made an adjustment, and let's take a look at shot number 2 to see where it ended up. And you can see here that it ended up on the other side of the bird. So I moved it just a touch too much. Right over here in this area is where the bulk of that shot is at. And you still see that I'm getting a really good tight group at 40 yards with that Longbeard XR. See if you guys can see how tight those pellets are right there. But it's directly in line up and down wise with where I want the bulk of my pattern to be at. So you see here, I've got a couple pellets up here in his head, a couple pellets down here low in his neck, but the bulk of those pellets are right here in that center mass region, up and down wise. I just need to get it a couple more clicks to get it right back over into this sweet spot. So we made an adjustment from there, and we ripped out shot number 3. So shot number 3 will show you a really good representation of what this Longbeard XR can do at 40 yards with a 20 gauge Tristar and that Vortex Viper red dot. Really good little groupings right there. Turn it around so you guys can see the back side of the paper and see that how well those shots are together. I hope you guys can see in this red, I'm gonna try to get in here. I hope you guys can see just how many pellet holes are in this red outline of the vitals of that turkey head that we've got. So just a really cool little pattern shotgun. So that was shot number 3. And then we've got shot number 4 right here, which was just to confirm that we are hitting basically exactly where we want to be hitting at. Might have pulled it just a touch low, but the last shot was dead on. So we are looking pretty good. Show you the back side. Hopefully you can see the bulk of the holes. And then show you this side here with the vitals. So what a cool little shotgun, guys. I tell you, it's a big difference. You don't think there's that much of a difference in toting around a 20 gauge out in the woods versus a 12 gauge. You're gonna cut down a lot of weight. And I don't know if it's just, you know, my Stoger's a shorter shotgun. It's a 12 gauge. It's got the pistol grip. It's got the EOTech. So it's kind of a beefier gun. But I like that because I'm shooting those 3.5-inch Longbeard XRs out of it, and it helps mitigate a lot of that recoil. With a 20 gauge, you can still shoot those 3-inch shells, the Longbeard XRs, out of a longer barreled shotgun, so you get a little bit tighter of a grouping. Even though the barrel doesn't play that much of a difference in grouping, it plays just a little bit, and it'll help you on your velocity just a touch as well. But for the most part, a 20 gauge, the recoil is very light. So this is a very good hybrid gun for potentially a lady hunter, a female shooter, or even a kid. Maybe you've got a teenager that's not quite big enough to run those 3.5-inch Longbeard XRs. And you want to get them something that they can shoot, they can practice with, they can be confident in. This little 20 gauge setup right here is phenomenal, and I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there across America that has got a shotgun just laying around in their closet that could be turned into a project style turkey shotgun and really put to use smacking some good Longbeards in the area that you are from. So man, hopefully y'all enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it for y'all. I love doing these style of reviews because that's one thing when I started my YouTube channel that I really wanted to do was get into the product reviews and do some different type of reviews that you might not see out there on the market. You know, a lot of people are trying to push buying brand new guns and all that, but if you've got a gun laying around in your gun cabinet, give it a little bit of a makeover. Go get that thing dipped in some kind of cool camo. It doesn't have to be this mossy oak camo. You can get it dipped in whatever the heck you want to get it dipped in. Throw you a little lightweight red dot on there, throw you a Carlsons choke tube on the end of it, and go buy some Longbeard XRs and go have some dang fun at the range. Take a kid hunting, take a kid shooting, take your wife, your girlfriend, whoever it may be, take somebody new for that matter, put them in the outdoors, put them behind a gun like this, and they're gonna absolutely enjoy it. So with that being said, that's gonna be it for today's video. If y'all are new to Southern Extreme TV, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and also make sure you share this video. Sharing these videos helps my channel a lot more than what you know, because it'll put my content in front of people that may not know about us, and maybe they'll have the opportunity to see this video, be inspired, and build them a little 20 gauge shotgun just like this one. So with that, thanks for hanging out. I'll see you guys next time.